Hello and welcome back to Movie Monday. So today we're going to be taking a look at another film based on an Old Testament account that was made by a non-Christian filmmaker. And I just find these so fascinating because non-Christian filmmakers emphasize different things than Christian filmmakers. And of course, there's a lot of poetic license in a lot of Old Testament accounts because there's just not a lot of information. You have the story of David, and there's a lot of information about that. And even though comparatively there's a lot of information about Moses, there's still even a lot of poetic license. What happened during all of his early years? And it's just fascinating what people will emphasize. So, taking a look at films based on the life of Moses, you have the Ten Commandments with Charlton Heston, and Exodus, Gods and Kings, and even the Ten Commandments, the musical with Val Kilmer. Definitely worth a watch. I enjoyed it quite a bit. And we'll probably feature it on a Movie Monday at some point. So each of those three movies emphasize the freedom fighter aspect of Moses, that Moses doesn't want slavery. And so it's very interesting because if you're a non-Christian looking at that, obviously that might be one of the messages you take away. And Charlton Heston certainly plays that up for the Americana and all of that in the Ten Commandments movie. And I like the Ten Commandments movie. I just find it interesting what happens when you have non-Christian filmmakers or people who grew up around the biblical accounts using these stories to create these big blockbuster films. So let's take a look at this film and see how quickly you can identify it. I'm going to play the trailer and then a clip and talk a little bit about it. So without further ado, here we go.
No. What did he say?
He's going to destroy the world.
My father said that one day, if man continued in his ways, the Creator would annihilate this world.
Can it not be averted?
He speaks to you. You must trust that he speaks in a way that you can understand.
I saw water. Death by water. Now I saw new life. A great flood is coming. We build a vessel to survive the storm. We build an ark.
Mother! What is... Oh, them!
What do you want? You don't know your king. There isn't anything for you here.
I have men at my back, and you stand alone and defy me?
I'm not alone. It begins. When they come, they will be desperate, and there will be many.
Take the ark!
I see how hard this was for you.
Remember, Noah, he chose you for a reason.
That's the end of everything.
Beginning. Beginning of everything.
So there it is. There's Noah. Now, what I want to do with Movie Mondays is focus on things I like in films like this because there is a lot of stuff to not like in Noah. Although it is fascinating stuff. The Watchers, the angels that are trapped in rock, and a lot of the ideas that Darren Aronofsky puts into this film are from Jewish mysticism and mythology. And he clearly did a lot of research into this because he nails some of those things that are just so foreign to Christians today because we did not grow up with all of the Jewish mysticism and mythology around the story of Noah. We've just gotten, the Christian Old Testament version of the story. And so it's just really fascinating if you dive into some of what's portrayed in the movie Noah. There is quite a bit of interesting history that you can study from that. In fact, they partnered with, when they released the movie Noah, they partnered with some Pentecostal churches, I believe, or branch of Pentecostal churches. And I hope I still have it, but there is a Bible study that these churches made to go along with Noah that examines this stuff. If I can find it, I might post it if there's interest in that. But again, I want to talk about what I like about Noah, because Noah does some things really well. In particular, there's the visions that Noah gets. I do think the way that Noah's visions are portrayed are very interesting. They're depicting how God can communicate in ways that go beyond our understanding, and Noah is kind of having to puzzle it out. I like that. I'm not sure that's how it happened, but again, we don't really have enough information, and so just kind of that take is very interesting to me. But the one thing I think Noah does right best of all is actually, I'll show you the clip. It is near the end of the movie, and the rock monsters, these angels who have been trapped in rock because they rebelled against God. Basically, they were thrown from heaven and into the earth, and they are weighted down by their sin and the earth that is compacted around them, so they're not allowed to return to heaven. That's part of their punishment. And in this movie, the Watchers are conscripted to help Noah build the ark. And so that's part of how how the movie explains how Noah is able to build this giant ark, is he has the help of these angelic rock monsters. And near the end of the movie, you have the men of Cain who are going to attack the ark to try to get on board before the flood comes. And these Watchers, these angelic rock monsters who have been cast down into the earth, are fighting on the side of Noah and of God. And there's this really great scene that I want to share with you right now.
My Creator, forgive me. The Creator brings him home!
So there it is. And this is so fascinating to me. These rock monsters fight on the side of Noah, and they're defeated by the men of Cain. And you hear that line, "Creator, forgive me." And, he splits apart. His angelic form is accepted back into heaven. And the other Watchers, they realize that God is offering them redemption, that God is offering to let them come home because of, presumably because of their good deeds in helping Noah. So there's some very interesting theology there that is just super fascinating, because I think Darren Aronofsky has some great visuals in this movie, but I think he does understand one thing about God, and that is the redemptive nature of God. Even in this movie that's so bleak and dark and hopeless in Noah, you have the scene of redemption. And it's not just because, I would argue that these rock monsters aren't accepted back into heaven because of their good deeds. They're accepted back into heaven because they recognize what they did was wrong, and they are they've repented of it, and because that has led them to help Noah. Although you could definitely read this in a more Catholic sense of, weighting the scales. But either way, it does demonstrate God's redemptive nature. And that is one of the good, positive things about Noah. We'll say, it's a very long movie. So if you decide to watch it in stages. But there are some, like I said, there are some very cool visuals. There's a lot that's kind of wrong about the story, I would say. But there are a few really neat visuals, and that one really good truth about God, that God is redemptive, and when we repent, God is ready to offer forgiveness when we ask for that forgiveness. So hope you have a great Monday, and I will see you later.